PhDizzle, and I'm your host, Alice Chang, and today we are interviewing Dr. George Engelmayr, who got his PhD in biomedical engineering from University of Pittsburgh and is now a director of bioprocess engineering at Memphis Meats. Tell me about what you studied in school and how that's kind of translated into your career.
Sure. So I took a relatively circuitous route from undergrad chemical engineering through industry, through master's to University of Pittsburgh, where I worked on heart valve tissue engineering for congenital heart valve lesions in children. And ultimately from there, went to do a postdoc up at MIT with Lisa Freed and Bob Langer, cardiac muscle tissue engineering. Went on to be a professor and met you at Penn State University in bioengineering. Ultimately went down to Duke and went to a company called Humacyte where we worked on vascular tissue engineering. And now, as you mentioned, Memphis Meats is a really interesting company. It's a relatively new startup. It was founded in late 2015, and we're focused on developing meat from cells without having to slaughter animals. So it has all of the interesting challenges of the field of tissue engineering, but for a totally different application in the food industry.
Is your goal to eventually be able to scale up and feed like all of America or like the population with tissue engineered meat?
Sure. So, you know, the technology to scale this up, it's really an unprecedented challenge. But I can tell you, we've got a great group of people working very hard towards this. You know, the potential impacts on, you know, from an environmental perspective, from a sustainability perspective, and just the moral implications of, you know, not having to slaughter animals anymore to create meat are just amazing. You know, and the more I work there, the more you think about it, it's just like mind-boggling how cool it is. So I have full confidence that we're going to make it happen. It's just a question of how long it's going to take to get there.
So tissue engineering meat for food, that's different than what you went to school for. You were doing more for like healthcare, right?
Sure.
So why did you choose to do a PhD, and did you think it would lead down this path?
Nobody was really doing meat. You know, everybody was focused on the biomedical applications. You know, my PhD advisor, Michael Sachs, he was working on heart valve tissue engineering with a pediatric cardiac surgeon at Boston Children's by the name of John Meyer. And so it was a really wonderful opportunity when I went there to really, you know, hit the ground running, and also to have, you know, the opportunity to work on something that nobody had really been doing much at that time. Looking at the effects of mechanical forces on the formation of these engineered tissues. And as you can imagine, like, you know, developing all these types of technologies, you know, when you want to apply them to another cell type or another tissue, for example, cardiac muscle, which I did during my postdoc, or skeletal muscle, which I did after that, you know, there's a lot of things that you can bring with you and apply. And so, you know, now having the opportunity to apply these in the context of meat is really exciting.
So George, what do you like to do outside of work?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, I love taking long walks with my wife. You know, back in Raleigh, where we were at previously, we've got a great neighborhood to take walks around, so that's good. Eating out, good food. But one of the, in terms of hobbies, I'll have to call it for now, I love fiction writing. And so last September, actually, I released my first novel called Proof of the Existence. It's kind of like a high-tech ghost story for folks who like Stranger Things, which I think that you've watched before.
Yeah.
I think people would like it. And so that, you know, kind of trying to balance between, you know, work and the science and engineering and the writing aspect has been, you know, a bit challenging. But I think that the creativity that goes into, you know, innovative science, you know, you can also channel that into other areas. And for me, that's been fiction.
Is it inspired by your work or like what you've done or thought about, and then you kind of infuse that into the book?
Yeah, some of it, you know. The first book has a lot of metamaterials, actually, materials whose properties derive not from their composition but rather from their structure, feature in the first book. And I thought it was kind of funny that we're on this lattice-like structure here in a playground. So,
we don't even know what this is.
You know, is this some sort of interesting metamaterial? I'm not sure. But
Wait, what would it do? Would it transport us somewhere?
It could. It could.
Okay.
Might like to go
Read the novel to find out. PhDizzle.
Having fun with smart people who do cool things. Right on.